I'm Amber Davies and welcome to Call to Stage. This is the space where musical theatre takes centre stage. From unforgettable backstage stories with incredible special guests to insights from my life and my theatre journey. We're leaving it all on the mic every single week, so let's jump in. Hi guys, welcome back to Call to Stage with me, Amber Davies. I have a superstar sitting next to me. I've known you for years. It's my incredible friend, Marisha Wallace.
Hey.
I mean, you do look insane.
Thank you.
Tell them what you've just done.
I just did the Glow Up. I think I can say that. The
can.
Cabaret challenge for Glow Up.
That is insane. I can't wait to watch that.
It's going to be so cool.
You literally look amazing.
Thank you.
Did they do it?
They didn't.
Oh, did you do it?
No, my makeup artist did it. I just judged the look.
Okay.
But you know.
Right. For Sally Bowles, is there anything you do before going on, like a pre-show ritual?
Well, we wear a lot of makeup in the show.
Okay.
So I do my full own face. So I think in that time of doing my face, that's the time I center myself during that makeup process because it is quite long. I always do my 15-minute vocal warm-up from Mark Malin that's been on my phone for about 8 years.
We love Mark.
I've been doing the same vocal warm-up for 8 years.
I want to do your vocal warm-up. You'll have to send it to me.
It's my Effie warm-up because if you can do Effie, you can sing anything in the entire world.
Oh, wow.
So I've been doing this same warm-up. And it's also really good to do the same warm over and over because then you know what parts of your voice are gone.
Yeah.
What parts of your voice are always working. So I always do the same warm-up. So I do my warm-up. I like to eat before the show. I know some people don't like to eat close to the show, but I need the energy to kind of sustain.
Yeah.
And I don't like to eat late.
No,
So I
I'm
need
with
to
you.
have a meal that can last me through the night.
So around about, what was your cutoff to eat?
I can eat about 6 o'clock.
Okay.
It's like an hour and a half.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So it doesn't bother me.
And then from start to finish, how long did it take for you to get your Sally face on?
I'm getting faster now. So maybe about 30 minutes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
30 minutes. Now, it was about 45 to an hour at one point. But now
But
I've got it down.
The egg.
Yes.
Can we talk about it?
The egg. So I don't know if everybody knows this. So we eat a raw egg in the show.
Yeah.
As part of a thing. Now, you can have the option of having a real egg or a vegan egg, which is like mango puree and an egg. But I was like, don't be a punk. You know what I mean? Man up.
When I saw, every time I go and see Cabaret and I see that section, I gasp because I forget that it's coming.
It's a real egg. So you crack the egg and you mixed it with Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah.
You know, Worcestershire sauce is when you raw egg, whooshed around Worcestershire sauce. So you put it in there. So now the Worcestershire sauce does help. It tastes more like a steak in my brain. But the other day, there's a cork. So it's like a cork inside of the glass bottle.
Yeah.
The cork broke off in the Worcestershire sauce, girl. So I'm saying the line, and I'm like, no, because I'm going to have to raw dog this egg. I put a drop in there. Only one drop came out. I was like, oh God. So like the whole scene, I'm like talking to Cliff going, oh yeah, my coat. Da, 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 da. And in my head, I'm going, oh God, I'm going to have to raw dog this egg because the Worcestershire sauce is not coming out. So then I'm like stirring it. I'm like doing the thing. And then I have to go do it. And I'm like,
Did you just go down in one?
tastes like peppermint.
Oh my God. Is it good for you?
They say it's good, it's protein. But then, I looked up the other day. I was like, I cook it salmonella. But you know what?
Really?
Swings roundabouts.
Yeah.
They're
paying you to do it.
But also the payoff is amazing.
Yeah.
So when you do it and the audience sees that you've done it, they buy into your character right away.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, she's actually crazy. I'm with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You trained in East Carolina University.
Yes.
And you were brought up in North Carolina.
Yes.
And moved to New York straight away after graduating.
Yes. I grew up in Goldsboro, North Carolina, on a hog farm. So I'm a farm girl. I grew up very rural, like what you see on TV, where the houses are like miles apart.
Okay.
But my little area of town, or little patch of land was all my family on one patch of land.
Okay, cute.
So like my grandma was my neighbor, my uncles were my other neighbors behind. So we all lived together, but we were all like a musical family. So
Okay.
my grandma was the pastor of the church on the corner. So my dad built the church on the corner.
Wow.
And my parents and everyone went to that church and we sang at that church. So that's where I first got like my start singing in church. Yeah.
I love that.
It's crazy, isn't it? So everyone in my family can play an instrument. Everyone in my family sings, but no one had taken their talent outside of the church.
Okay.
Basically, because it was kind of forbidden actually. Because I went to I had very strict religious upbringing.
Okay.
And if it wasn't about God or Jesus, they didn't want you to do it. But I was like, you know what? I think I can minister to people in a different way.
Yeah.
And then I found theater, which was like my other church.
Yeah.
I went to East Carolina University for. I actually was going for music to be a music teacher.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, I didn't know that this was like a profession, like a career that you could actually have. But I had an amazing high school teacher who said, "You're not like the other kids. I think you should do this professionally." And I was like, okay. And she took me to see Aida.
Oh my
Disney's
gosh.
Aida, and she pointed at Heather Headley and said, "You need to do that." And then she was like, "That's what you should do."
It's always a teacher.
It's always a teacher who takes time out of their own day. She would take me on her dime. She paid. She drove me. She helped me with my audition to get into the university.
Wow.
I had to sing an opera song. I had to sing an aria to get. I could barely speak English, let alone sing in Italian. Say tu mami, what? I didn't even know how to say pizza. Like what? But I did it, and then I went.
Of course you did.
I thought I had slayed, and they were like, "Oh, that's great, but something's wrong with your voice, so you can't get in." So I didn't get into school, and I was crying. I was walking out. You know how you like in the movie when you're walking out of the theater, and you're like, "Are you gonna cry?"
Yeah.
And then one of the professors ran behind me and stopped me and said, "Don't leave. I feel like you have something, but I have to figure out what's wrong with your voice." And I was like, okay. And he gave me a free voice lesson. And my teacher brought me back again. This is like a 45-minute drive from my house. So she's bringing me back and forth.
Wow.
So she took me back and we had the lesson. And he said, "You have a great voice. There's just something wrong with your voice. Like you need to go get checked." So I went to ENT and I found out I had cysts on my vocal cord. I was 17 years old. Yeah. And I had been singing my whole life. I had no idea. And they were like, "You could possibly never sing ever again."
What? Was it uncomfortable?
Well, I was losing my voice. So I would sing, because I was singing in church and I was choir director, and I would sing for an hour and I wouldn't be able to speak.
Okay.
But I was just thought, oh, I'm just singing hard.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was a problem.
No.
And then the doctor was like, well, either you can get surgery or you can just never sing again.
So you got surgery?
I got surgery. So this is the summer before I'm supposed to go to university. So I've been accepted into the school, but I haven't been accepted into the theater program or the music program at this time. I went and got the surgery in the summer. I couldn't speak for 3 months. There was no, I'm old, so there was no iPhone, there was no iPad. There was a whiteboard I wore around my neck that I would write what I needed to say. I had to quit my job because I was a waitress because I couldn't speak to people. And then I was silent for 3 months. And then I got to the school and they were like, well, you can't do the music program because you got to start right away. But what about musical theater? You can do that in a year. You got time to rehabilitate your voice for a year, and then you can audition for that in the second year. So I got my voice back. I started working with an opera teacher at the school.
Oh my
and
gosh.
like she basically taught me to speak again. And then I auditioned for the music theater program. And they picked 15 people, and I got in.
I had no idea.
That was all how I got started. That's wild, isn't it?
I mean, I'm shocked.
It's crazy. It's absolutely insane because I always forget that that's how I already started in an obstacle. Like,
yes, you did.
I came into an obstacle. Like some people are like, oh, I started well and then an obstacle came. No, I started with an obstacle. But I think it was good I started with an obstacle because I always knew I was never going to get anything easy.
Yeah.
That I was always going to have to work 10 times as hard to get what I want. And if I have a setback, I knew I was going to be able to get through it.
I always think in life as well, you're dealt with certain cards because you can deal with it.
Yeah.
You can handle it.
Absolutely.
You know? And there's
It
a
taught me
greater
resilience.
purpose.
Yeah. And at 17 to learn resilience is valuable. As you know, there's so many kids who go straight to a West End show.
Yeah.
And they don't know that is a journey to get to that sometimes. And you miss out on that necessary part, that little lesson in between getting what you want is really important. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So, Sally Bowles, where did that audition come into the inbox? How did you have your eye on it? Where? Tell me everything.
Oh, God, this is a long story, but I'm going to try to shorten it. But I was playing Adelaide at that time. And I remember I was walking through the tube and I would see all the signs for Cabaret. And I was like, oh, that looks cool. And there was a lot of like diversity in the signs.
Yeah.
And then I was like, there's a lot of diversity, but that's in the back. It was like, where's the diversity in the front? I was like, there's never been a Black Sally Bowles that I can remember in a commercial production. This was before Leighton had actually done it. There had never even been a Black MC.
Nope.
And I was like, why? Number one. And then two, I was like, I had asked my best friend about it. And he was like, well, there was no Black people around at that time in Germany. And I was like, what? How is that possible? It's the 1930s. It's not 1800s.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what's happening? I was like, this is the same time as Billie Holiday and Josephine Baker. And Josephine Baker was like touring through Berlin.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know as a Black person what the history was because it was never taught to me.
Okay.
So I was like, if I don't know, then why would they know? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I went to research it myself. There was over 24,000 Africans living in Berlin at the time.
Okay.
It was one of the most diverse cities in the world.
At that time.
Also in Mein Kampf, Hitler talks about the Rhineland bastard situation.
Right.
And it's what he used to convince Germans to kill Jews. So the Rhineland bastard, the German soldiers, they occupied the Rhineland in Africa.
Yeah.
And they came back with all these mixed race babies. And those mixed race children were living in Berlin. And they were coming up to the age of where they would be making children themselves. So he had them sterilized so that they couldn't have babies. And a lot of them were sent to concentration camps as well. Also, he said that the Jews were trying to defile the white race by having babies with Black people. So we were there. And I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of this. So I collected all this information.
Okay.
I put it on a file and I typed it out. And I had messaged Jordan Fine, who was the associate to Rebecca Frecknell. He directed me in Oklahoma.
Okay.
And I just called him. I was like, I think I want to be Sally Bowles. Here's the information. Can I do this? And he said to me, Marisha, if anyone can do it, you can. And that was all I needed to hear. And when I heard that, I was on a mission. And so I got this information and I gave it to my agent, Helen, who's amazing.
We have the same agent.
She's incredible. She never, I'm going to cry. Because, there's people that you meet who never question you, who just run with what you want to do. They just see the vision right away. She never was like, I don't think, no. She was like, what is it? Okay, let me go. We're running. Okay.
Let's do it together.
So she sent my research to HEG.
Wow.
This is all to get an audition.
Exactly.
This is not even to get the part. This is not even to be offered anything.
This is to get you in that room.
This is to get in the room.
Yeah.
And then also Jordan advocated for me and sent what I sent to him to Rebecca.
Okay.
To get her opinion on it. And then they went for it. And they were like, okay, we're going to give her an audition. And then at that point, I was like, okay, now I got to be undeniable because I've asked for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I got to smash this.
I got to smash this out of the park because I asked for it. So then I took it upon myself. I got my own dialect coach. I paid £400 got dialect coaching. Because I had never done a British accent in front of British people. And that was actually one of the scariest things for me. It was actually my little Achilles heel that nobody knew about because I wasn't great at accents, like that kind of accent.
Okay.
Like I do American accents, but I had never done a British accent.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, if I want to do this, I got to do it right. So I went to an incredible dialect coach, Meave Diamond, incredible. And I was like, okay, I'm going all in. So I did it. I was memorized. I was ready to go. Somebody got sick on the creative team. So they canceled the audition that week. And I had prepped all that.
So how long was it?
That was in December of 2023, right before December of 2023, January, something like that. January 24. So December into 24.
Oh my God. So
that was January 24. And then they were going to schedule me to come back in. And then I got Big Brother. I was in the Big Brother house when they called me back. So I was in the Big Brother house still going over my lines and my accent. And I was testing it on people. They're like, does that sound good? Does that sound good?
Oh, wow.
I came out of the Big Brother house and I think it was like 2 weeks later. They were like, okay, you ready? You can come in now. So I came in and I was ready. I did it.
You were so ready by then.
I was so ready. I did it. And I remember after I did Cabaret, the whole team was crying. And I was like, well, that went well. That was good. But then I had to wait 2 more months because they were putting Cabaret up on Broadway. And Rebecca wasn't at the audition because she was on Broadway. So she had to watch the tape, which takes time. And they were trying to put that up.
So did you not actually go in front of her?
No. So she watched my tape from the rehearsal. And just
gave it the okay.
So I waited and waited. I didn't give up, but I was like, if it happens, it happens, fine. I'm just telling you all this because I don't people really know the full timeline of how things work. But anyway, so then she finally called back and was like, I love this. She's incredible. We need to find an Emcee that matches her. And I go to my team and Laura goes, it should be Billy. And I was like, it's Billy Porter. And I've known Billy for years.
Have you?
Since 2012 we met. He was just randomly in my house one day. So
How was Billy Porter?
Because I used to have these cookouts at my house with barbecues. And I would have all the Broadway people come to my house and I would have hot dogs and I had a backyard. And that's rare in New York to have a backyard. So I have a backyard and I was just walking through, like serving my plate. And then I see Billy Porter sitting in my living room eating a hot dog. And I was like, is that Billy Porter eating a hot dog in my living room? And he was like, hey, girl. And I was like, hey, boo. Because he was friends with some of my friends. And then we were friends from then on. And he would come visit me in London and would see my shows. And
is it amazing to work together?
It's incredible to work together because he's someone I looked up to when I was coming up. Like all the little black kids looked up to Billy because he was who we were aspiring to be.
Yeah.
And then for him to be like my colleague and my brother, and I could reach back to him and bring him on board was incredible. Because I think we should really look out for our legends and our elders. And he was at a time in his life, his mom had just passed actually, and he was really down at that time because he had come to visit me, and I could see in him he needed theater because he had gone on to Hollywood and all that, and it kind of hurt him. Hollywood did, and I was like, Hollywood will hurt you, but theater kind of will bring you back.
Will fix you.
It can fix you. The right show can fix you. I called him and he said, will you replace? And I was like, it's not about replacing. This is an event. This is a moment. This is a cultural shift. This is something we're doing for the culture. And then he got on board and then that was it. And now here we are. Which is all that to get around.
Yeah, months and months of your own blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
And it's a moment.
It's a moment. It's so special when we take that bow together at the end of the night.
Makes me want to cry.
It's a lot. It's also he too at the time, or 30 years ago, when Alan Cumming was in the role, he wanted to play Emcee. Okay. And they said unequivocally, no. Can't audition, can't do it. And he sent them the book, Destined to Witness, which was one of the books I recommended for them to read about. He had already done this 30 years before me. I had no idea. It's called Destined to Witness, Growing Up Black in Nazi Germany. It's Hans J. Massaquoi was a guy who was living in Germany at the time, black, mixed race, and he was living under the Nazis' rule, going to school with Nazis, like learning about Nazi ideology.
And he'd sent this
and he was black, and Billy sent this to the casting director and all of the creatives at the first Cabaret with Sam Mendes. And he said, we were there, we were always there. He signed it. And then they wrote him back and said, that's not the story we're trying to tell. And so he's had this want and need to play this role this whole time. I had no idea. And then I met one of his students the other night, and it was like, you've been telling us this story about Cabaret for years.
Yeah.
And then finally see it realized. It's a big moment. I don't think people realize how we've been barred from playing certain roles. And we've been left out of the conversation.
Yeah.
And not only does it stop you from doing the art that you could make, it stops you from your wealth, it stops you from awards, it stops you from progressing. Because if people pigeonhole you, you can never break the glass ceiling. Like, it's important.
Well, you're familiar when it comes to being nommed for an award. Firstly, when you found out in the Big Brother house, I was hysterical. It
was so
You'd gone to that game, hadn't you?
I thought it was going to say evict someone at that ball. I literally, when that picked up the ball, I was like, it's about to be bad. And then when it said that,
I was sobbing. I was literally sobbing. I couldn't believe it.
It was the craziest. It was because I was in a show talking about a show that was happening.
Were you in Guys and Dolls at the time?
I had just left.
You'd just left.
I left 2 weeks before.
Okay.
Those worlds had never collided either. Theater and reality television, they had never been in the same room on the same space, right?
Ruthie Henshaw
had
done
The Jungle?
The Jungle.
Yeah.
That's kind of the only type of hint we've had of it.
Yeah, but then to celebrate theater.
But to celebrate it, we've never had that.
No, and there were so many people who didn't know what the Oliviers was.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
That shocked me. I feel like Americans know what the Tonys is, but like it's not as
equivalent.
It's not as equivalent. No. Well, I thought it was, but we brought so much attention to theater and to the Oliviers.
I love that.
Big Brother. I think this year they're going to have a primetime slot because of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is great because they're usually at the end of the night.
Yeah. I don't want to focus too much on Big Brother, but if you could like round up your experience, was it insane?
Well, you've been on reality TV. You know, it's crazy. It's like nothing you've ever
It's a social experiment.
Yeah, but then it's also like a 24-hour immersive play. Like that's what it is like.
It is true.
It is. It's like, but then when you are a theater person or an actress, you know the difference between Sally Bowles and Marisha. Mm. You know the difference between Adelaide and Marisha. Mm. But when you're on reality TV, and a lot of reality TV people don't know the difference between the part they play in reality TV and the person that they are. So those are the people that scared me, because I was like, is this you? Yeah. Or is this the part you've created for yourself? Are you the villain? Is that the part you play? Or are you the comic? Is that the part you play? Because I was just being myself. And then I
could tell that.
And I was like, oh, you guys are working. Oh.
Maybe I should.
I was like, should I be working? You know what I mean? Like, I felt like I should be working, which was kind of thrilling to watch, because it was kind of like, oh, this is a job, which I did not realize reality TV for some people is a job.
It is.
And I was like, oh, these characters, that the archetypes of people that what either the public want them to be or who they want themselves to be, you don't really know.
No.
But it's definitely something that they've created for themselves. But more power to them. I mean, like, it's all entertainment.
Also, I do think as well, like, do they even know who they are?
No. Or I don't know if they know who they are. I don't know if the person that I'm meeting is real, which was always weird to me, because I'm coming
I'd
very
be
genuine.
second guessing all the time.
Yeah.
I'd be like,
But I came in with such an open heart. Where I was like,
Yeah.
I come in because, we theater people. So we just like,
Oh.
whoever you show me is who I believe until I see otherwise. You know what I mean?
Also, I feel like as an industry, you enter a rehearsal room and you're instantly family.
Oh, absolutely.
You're like, we're instantly best friends.
Yes. I was totally like that.
Yeah.
And Zizi was like, girl, these people ain't your friends. But I'm like, but wait. She's like, it's been 3 days, babe. It's been 3 days. I had to remember. I was like, oh, this ain't theater camp.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But everybody was really nice, which made the show harder, I think. Because there was no like person who was like, oh, you're absolutely the villain. But that's the thing about it. There's no villains and heroes. Everybody's got something. Everybody's good and bad. Everybody's happy and sad. Everybody has all the spectrums of life. And I think on these shows, you don't get to see the full spectrum of the relationships that you create with people.
No.
There were times me and Louis were in the bed chatting about life, or sometimes he would be really sad where I was comforting him, but they weren't sure of that. You know what I mean? So
but you've got that for yourself.
I got that for myself,
and
I really liked the experience. I did.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I mean, I've always been a fan of Big Brother since I was really young.
I mean, it was iconic.
It's iconic.
I ate salmon with Sharon Osbourne and like cooked her food, and we ate together. And I mean, what's that?
Do you still speak to Sharon?
I have not spoken to Sharon, but I do speak to Louis.
He needs to go and see Cabaret.
I'm trying to get him. He never likes to leave Ireland. He's going to Miami, he says. He went to Miami for Christmas. And I said, can you please leave Ireland and come down here and watch the show?
So can we just talk about your Broadway debut was Aladdin.
Yeah.
You then was in the original Broadway cast of Something Rotten.
Mm-hmm.
And then you came to London.
Yeah.
To play Effie.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get from New York to London?
Girl, it's going to be a crazy story because nothing's ever straightforward. Why can't I just... Why can't I just book a job and do a job? Yeah. It's never like that.
Well,
it's always like...
It does say you were supposed to do it for 3 weeks.
So I was doing Something Rotten, and I was playing a tap dancing egg.
Love it.
Her name was Effie White. And I was come out the egg, and I was saying, and I am telling you, I'm not going to be an omelet. No, no, no.
Okay.
And I'm eating eggs in Cabaret. You see? Round.
Manifesting.
You see manifest. Anyway, so I get a call and they say, do you want to play Effie White in the West End? And I was like, yeah.
Duh.
Back up. I was always supposed to be Amber Standby.
Okay.
A year before this, I had a private audition with Casey and with Henry Krieger at Casey's apartment.
Wow.
Where they just wanted to hear me sing. I sang the songs. So I thought I was going, girl. I was like, oh, this is happening.
Okay.
And then I get a call and they say, it's not happening. We're going to pick 2 girls here in London because it's cheaper and you don't have to pay for visas, which it is cheaper.
Fine, yeah.
Fine. But for me, I was like, I worked so hard. I was so sad because this was my dream. I was like, it's going to get me out. This is my first big principal. I was like, yes. So I was like, I'm going to do it for myself. So I looked on the Actors Equity website and I saw an ad for Dreamgirls in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
And the director of it was someone I had worked with before on Oklahoma, randomly. And that all comes back around on a all-black Oklahoma I did where I played Ado Annie.
Okay.
And so
Crazy.
I went in. He was like, you're not going to leave your Broadway show to come do this? And I was like, yes, I will.
Really?
And I took a pay cut. I asked the producer, Kevin McCullum, I said, can I please go play Effie for 3 months in Dallas? And he said yes. And he just told someone no, like the days before. So I was like, what? And he was like, I won't stop you. Go. Which cost them money. Like for you to leave a show and get replaced and to come back to the show, they never do that. So he let me do it. And then I came back. I had great rave reviews for it. It was great. I come back to the show. I was only in the show for 2 weeks. Back for 2 weeks. And I got the call that Amber Riley had pneumonia. And the shows have been canceled. And at this time, people never cancel shows. Like, if you cancel the show, you're like...
Shit is going down.
It was the end of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And they had canceled like 2 shows, I think. And they were like, can you come play Effie in the West End? And can you come tonight? Mm-hmm. tonight.
Did you? I would have just not even packed my bags. I just would have got on that flight.
I did, but you know, it's so crazy. I had a Christmas concert I was doing on the weekend. I was like, no, I have to do this concert. It's like my solo show. I feel like an idiot now. Should have canceled that, but no one canceled shows at that time. So I was like, guys, I can't come tonight, but I can come on the weekend, and I can at least pack my stuff, and I'll come on the weekend. Packed up everything in my apartment in New York, put it in the basement. And my landlord was just like, keep everything in the basement. When you come back, sort it out. So then I flew to London. I get off the plane. It's opening night of Dreamgirls. I'm sitting next to Ben Platt's dad. I'm like, oh, hey. And he was like a producer, or I think he was going to be a producer. I don't know what's happening. Okay. I'm sitting next to him, and I watch Amber do the show. And then the next morning, they're like, great, you got costume fittings. So they put me in all the clothes of one of the girls. They took her clothes and fit me in her clothes in an hour. And then I had 5 more days of and 2 hours rehearsal here, 3 hours rehearsal there, 2 hours rehearsal here, 3 hours rehearsal there. And I was on, and that was it.
And that was it. You
and
never went back.
And I was on, and they were like, okay, you're just going to be here for 3 weeks to cover her. And then 3 weeks turned into 6 months, and 6 months turned into a year. And then I took over the role, and I was there for another year. So I did 2 years. But word had caught. So when I did my first show, nobody even knew I was there.
Okay.
Nobody knew I was there. Nobody knew I was on. They just put a little slip up. Someone sent me that slip. It was just like a little slip they put in a thing, and they put like a little sign up. And they were like,
Amber's out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Amber had this like great star entrance where it's like, Effie, and everyone goes, yeah, and they clap. So when I came out, they were like, Effie, and then everyone went, ugh.
How mean?
They were mad. Well, they did, girl, and especially at that time, like, people wanted Amber from Glee. I mean, I'd be mad too. Then they didn't tell me. Y'all don't make no announcements here. Y'all really be putting y'all people through hell. I was literally, because on Broadway they'll be like, today's show will be played by Marisha Wallace.
They had to stop doing that because people would boo.
Really?
The audience would boo, so they stopped doing it. And then basically the person playing the role would hear that and then would start their show in like a bit of...
Oh, that does make sense.
That's why they stopped doing that.
But give them something, because you guys don't have playbills either. So if you didn't buy a playbill, you didn't get the slip.
Well, normally when you walk into the bar, there should be a sign.
Yeah, but y'all ain't really highlighting it, man.
I know.
Nobody
it
knew.
It's the only thing.
It is really quiet.
It's quiet.
It's quiet. They're like, ooh, somebody in here, but I ain't gonna tell you who it is. But then after, and I'm telling you, they stood mid show, and I was like, whoa, something's happening, and it caught fire. And then people were asking, when's Marisha on? When's Marisha on? Have you heard about this new girl, Marisha? She's here. She's dead. Blah 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 blah. And then
because no one would have known you in the UK.
No, not nobody.
So that was just and it was at the Savoy.
Mm-hmm.
So both of us did our West End debuts at the Savoy.
Yeah, little Savoy. But yeah, and then it just snowballed.
I love that. I love that so much. Then just before we finish, because we're going to have to end this part of our session, but if you want to listen to Marisha answering some of your personal questions, hang around for the Patreon. And you'll be answering all the juicy questions. But just the last couple of things I want to talk about is Hairspray, Motormouth.
Oh, special.
Coliseum.
That was so special.
Did you love it?
It was one of the first shows back. We reopened the West End. And it was with Michael Ball, who at that time I had put out Tomorrow. And that was my first... this is funny being back here because this is where my record label is.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Decca was my record label.
Oh, wow.
And Michael played that song on the radio, Tomorrow, and it blew up and changed my whole life. So I got a record deal in the pandemic because of Michael Ball. But anyway, that was our first show together. So we did that show together.
It was meant to happen.
It was meant to be. And then I remember the first show we had that wasn't social distanced. And everyone was crying. I got a standing ovation for I Know Where I've Been. People were laughing. They was like, this is the first time I've danced with my grandma. This is the first time I've laughed. This is the first time. Hairspray was iconic. Iconic.
Well, you are such a strong resilient woman, and like so many things in your life are full circle.
Everything is full.
It's crazy.
It actually scares me. Like, I'm about to do my solo concert at the Adelphi, March 11th. Go see it.
March 11th,
March
guys.
11th. But I'm doing it back where I did Waitress at the Adelphi.
Yes.
So
and you originated the role of Becky.
So to be back on that stage, and I'm going to go through my whole Rolodex of all the shows I've played. So I'm doing all the hit songs from the shows I've played. And it's just going to all be like a big old circle of all
like
the
memory lane.
Now memory lane, celebrating, because this will be 9 years I've been in London in December. But everything has been divine intervention. And every time I question why or what's happening, I don't, because I'm like, if that didn't happen, then that wouldn't have happened. And if that bad thing didn't happen, then this good thing wouldn't have happened. So you kind of have to really look at your life like that and not regret anything. And sometimes the bad is actually working for your good. You just don't know why yet. Because like, what if I had originally gotten that Effie from the beginning? There would have been no like, okay, this is the new girl, blah, blah, blah. So
your journey is set for you.
It is. And
good things happen to good people.
They do. And I think sometimes people think you have to be a jerk to make it. And you see a lot of people who are jerks who make it.
Yeah, I know.
But then good people make it too. You don't always have to play it the bad way.
And good people have longevity. And
they will be around a long time. And you'll work a lot.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so the last...
It's gorgeous.
These are questions